Politics is often called as a dirty game, but we need to understand and think about this thing, that is it politics which is dirty or we made it dirty? Hello friends, welcome to the in-depth series of Drishti IAS. I am Ritu and today's session is about that is it right that bureaucrats and judges are joining the political parties? And this question and this session is important for your GS2 as well as ethics perspective. Moving towards the points of discussion part. First of all, we are going to discuss the news, then we are going to discuss that what are the constitutional restrictions do we have on the bureaucrats and also on the judges, and then what about the political post, and also we are going to discuss the recommendation related to this thing, and then what is cooling off period and is it desirable, and after that we are going to discuss practice question for prelims. Before that, you have to like, share and subscribe to the Drishti IAS channel. Moving towards the news part. So what had happened that recently Calcutta High Court judge, we have seen that resigned from the post or retired from the post, and also a senior IPS officer from West Bengal had joined a certain political parties, and that had raised a serious question that judges or senior IPS officers or IS officers or any kind of the bureaucrat is allowed to join the politics. So this is a matter of the question, and it is often asked in the question that administration and bureaucrats, judiciary and this politics. So politics is often associated with the bureaucrats and this judiciary. So in this scenario, it's very important to discuss the relevance of this topic and also the neutrality of the judiciary. Moving towards the next slide. Next slide is about what are the constitutional restrictions. So we all know that in India we have three systems. One is the legislature, executive and judiciary, and one is responsible for their work. And executive and legislature, they both are responsible for each other, and we have seen that judiciary, which is an independent organization, takes checks and balances on these two organs. So in a democratic setup, we have this kind of the organizational setup, and we have seen that how a country should run effectively with the help of all these pillars. And we have always seen that judiciary always try to maintain their neutrality in order to protect the democratic values of this country. But many times what we have seen that after retirement of the judges of Supreme Court or whether High Court, we have seen that these judges are joining the political parties. So is it right? We are trying to answer this question, that is it right? So when it comes to the democratic values or democratic setup, then it is right, because they are also citizens of this country and they do have right to contest election. But it is a matter of the question that after resigning from a particular post for just 2 days, any bureaucrat or any judge is joining any certain political parties, and especially the ruling political parties, then it is a matter of question, because there is a matter of conflict of interest. So in this scenario, we need to discuss that what could be the better solution and what is the cooling off period. So we have seen that what is the constitutional restriction. So we have few constitutional restrictions related to the judges of the Supreme Court and similar to the High Court also. So a Supreme Court, after ceasing to the hold of office, cannot appear as a lawyer. So when you are a judge of a Supreme Court, you cannot appear as a lawyer in the High Court or also in the Supreme Court. And if you are a judge of the High Court, there are certain restrictions which are applicable to both the Supreme Court judge also and the High Court judge. But the High Court judge has right to appear as a lawyer in the High Court and other courts. And similarly, we have seen that CAG, Comptroller Auditor General, has certain restriction. Chairman and members of different service commission has also restriction, and they cannot take up any of the employment with the central and state government after demitting the office. So there is a cooling off period for them, that they cannot take such office for certain period of the time. So these are the constitutional restrictions we have on these kind of the public offices. Moving to the next slide. Next slide is out what about the political post. So when it comes to that, a CAG cannot take office of a state government or central government after certain period of the time. So this is a certain restriction on the CAG. And we have also seen that there's certain restriction on the members of Public Service Commission and other things. But what about the political post? So when it comes to the constitution, we don't have any kind of this kind of restriction on the political post. It means that if you are resigning from a post, after 2 or 3 days or after just 1 day also, you can join any political party and you can hold any political post. So this kind of restriction is not applicable to the political post. So this is our constitution. So we have to find out that is it applicable in constitution or not. Then it is, according to the constitution, we don't have any certain kind of rules for bureaucrats and judges or any kind of the persons. So these are the things. And we have also seen that there are certain instances where judges have joined the political parties, bureaucrats are joining the political parties on a random basis also, or on a daily basis also. We can see that bureaucrats are leaving their positions, IPS officer, IAS officers, they are joining the political parties. And the question is that it comes to the shock when we have seen that Chief Justice of India, a former Chief Justice of India, had joined as a member of Rajya Sabha. So it is a matter of question that is it applicable? Then on a constitutional basis, it is applicable. But when it comes to the ethical values or democratic setup or other kind of the responsibilities or partiality and neutrality of the judiciary, then it is a matter of question that if any person is joining political party just after 2 days of their resignation, it means that the person is in terms with all those political leaders before their resignation. So we need to understand that how that person is maintaining the neutrality and partiality and other kind of the things towards their office and towards the responsibility of their post. So that person maybe can be partial at some point of time because the person was talking earlier, because he or she wants to join a certain political party or he or she wants to take certain political post. So in that situation, it is very matter of question for a democratic country like India that how to maintain neutrality of the judiciary. Moving to the next slide. Next slide is about what are the recommendation. So in 2012, Election Commission has come with a recommendation, and that recommendation says that there should be the cooling off period for the bureaucrats and for the judges. However, this recommendation was not accepted by the government of India, and it says that right to contest election is their right, and you cannot restrict anyone or restrict anyone that you should not contest election or you should not hold in any political post. So this has been rejected, and we have also seen that there was a writ petition in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court has also rejected this writ petition, and it says that it is a matter of the parliament. So it should not be discussed into the court because these things should be decided by the parliament. So these are the recommendation which is not accepted. Moving to the next slide. Next slide is about, is the cooling off period desirable? So first you need to understand that what is a cooling off period. Suppose that if you are holding a post of IPS officer and you have resigned on a certain day, then there should be a cooling off period that you should not join any political party or you should not work with the central and state government for certain period of time, for 1 month, for 1 year, for 3 years. It could be any of the numbers. So it should be up to the parliament that they should decide that whether these kind of things are desirable or not. So these matters have also discussed, and according to the CAG, it has says that these things are not desirable because the person is responsible towards any kind of the neutrality or any kind of thing till the person is holding the post. Suppose that if you resign today, and from today onwards you're not responsible for any kind of neutrality or impartiality. So these kind of things are not desirable, and cooling off period is not acceptable in terms of the bureaucrats and also in terms of the judges. So it's their right that they can contest election, they can join any political parties, they can become member of Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, Legislative Assembly. So it's their right, and we cannot hold someone to like that. If a person is holding constitutional post, we can have certain restrictions regarding that person should not join the state government or central government employment. But when it comes to the political will or anything, it is very personal thing and we should not restrict anyone. So this is the mandate by the CAG which has been recommended. So moving to the question part, before going to the question part, we need to also understand that what should be the way forward. So we often see that any bureaucrat or any IPS officer is joining any political party, and that raises a question on their ethics, that if the person was ethical, then he or she must not take any political post, and should not listen to any political party or any minister. Then how a person can be impartial at that time, and how it can serve justice to the people, how it can serve to the people, and how they are representing the people. So in that scenario, it has been advised that cooling off period should be advisable to the bureaucrats and also to the judiciary, so that the public should have a opinion or mandate onto this, that okay, if we are trusting to a particular bureaucrat, if we are trusting to a particular judge, then the person is impartial. So for maintenance of that impartiality, we need to have a cooling off period. So this way forward you can write, and this is the question. Consider the following statement about right to contest election. And the first statement is it is a fundamental right, and then the second statement is it is mentioned in Article 19 of the Indian Constitution, and here they are asking correct statement. So kindly answer in the comment section. I hope you like this session. If you have any queries related to this session, kindly ask in the comment section. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.